What if Animal Crossing stopped being about decorating your dream island and started asking you to run an entire economy instead? That's probably the best way I can describe Gogo Town. At first, it looks like a cozy little town builder, full of colorful characters and relaxing vibes. But give it a couple of hours, and suddenly you're managing employees, optimizing production lines, organizing storage, balancing resources, and wondering why you've spent the last 15 minutes trying to make one delivery truck take a shorter route. Welcome back to Smash and Play. Today, we're checking out GoGo Town on Nintendo Switch 2 to see if this blend of cozy town building and management simulation is worth your time, or if it ends up becoming more work than fun. The story is about as simple as it gets. You're the new mayor of a struggling town that's seen better days. Your goal is to rebuild it, attract tourists, bring in new residents, and slowly transform it into a place people actually want to visit. And honestly, that's all the story really needs to do. It gets out of the way and lets the gameplay take over. Because that's where Gogo Town lives or dies. When you first start playing, everything feels small. You collect wood, mine rocks, carry materials yourself, build a few simple structures. Nothing feels particularly complicated. In fact, the first hour almost tricked me into thinking this was going to be a slow, relaxing town building game. Then, the town started growing. More buildings unlocked, more jobs needed to be done, more people arrived. And suddenly I realized something. I couldn't possibly keep doing everything myself. That's when the game clicked for me. Instead of asking me to work harder, it asked me to work smarter. Hiring workers completely changes the experience. Rather than running across town every 5 minutes to gather another pile of materials, you begin assigning jobs, creating routines, and letting your town slowly take care of itself. One of my favorite moments happened after I'd finally organized a decent workforce. I left one side of town to unlock a new building, came back a few minutes later, and everything was still running. Resources had been gathered, businesses were stocked, workers were doing exactly what I'd asked them to do. For the first time, it actually felt like I was managing a town instead of babysitting one. That's an incredibly satisfying feeling. The progression system deserves a lot of credit for keeping things moving. You're constantly unlocking new tiers that introduce fresh buildings, additional jobs, and better tools. Just when you think you've figured everything out, the game hands you another system to manage. Fortunately, it rarely feels overwhelming. The objective tracker built into your in game phone does a great job pointing you toward your next goal without constantly interrupting the experience. I also like the two currency system. Gold handles your everyday economy. Ego is earned by making your citizens happy and improving the town itself. That means progression isn't only about making money, it's also about creating a place people actually enjoy living in. I thought that was a clever idea. It encourages you to think beyond profits and pay attention to how your town functions as a whole. Eventually, you unlock vehicles and better storage systems, and trust me, you'll appreciate them. The larger your town becomes, the more obvious it is that walking everywhere simply isn't efficient anymore. Small quality of life improvements like these make a surprisingly big difference during longer play sessions. Now, it's impossible to talk about GoGo Town without mentioning automation. If you've ever played something like Factorio, you'll probably recognize that addictive feeling of constantly improving your systems. GoGo Town never becomes that complicated, but it captures the same satisfaction. I kept thinking, if I move this building over here, if I hire one more worker, if I reorganize this storage area, everything becomes just a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. Before I knew it, I wasn't expanding because the game told me to. I was expanding because I genuinely wanted to make everything more efficient. That's where Gogo Town becomes surprisingly addictive. The couch co op mode is another huge highlight. This is a multiplayer that's been thrown in simply to check a feature list. It actually improves the experience. One player can focus on gathering resources while the other builds new structures. One person manages workers while the other completes objectives. Or you both accidentally create complete chaos trying to reorganize the same town at the same time. Either way, it's fun, and it makes Gogo Town one of those games that's easy to recommend for families or friends looking for something relaxed to play together. The controls are also easy to pick up. Moving around, interacting with objects, building structures, and managing workers all feel intuitive. The only place I occasionally wished for something different was interior decorating. Mouse controls could have made placing objects with precision a little easier. It's not a huge issue, but it would have been a nice addition. Visually, Gobo Town keeps things simple. Bright colors, charming character designs, clean environments. Nothing here is trying to push Nintendo Switch 2 to its limits. Instead, everything focuses on readability and personality. Performance is solid as well. Running at 60 frames per second on Switch 2 makes the game feel responsive, even when your town becomes much busier later on. I rarely notice technical issues during normal gameplay. One small complaint. The handheld text can be a little difficult to read. It's not a deal breaker, but during longer sessions, I definitely found myself wishing certain menus used slightly larger fonts. The soundtrack ended up being another pleasant surprise. Most of the music matches the cozy atmosphere you'd expect. Then, completely out of nowhere, the game throws energetic electronic tracks into the mix. I honestly wasn't expecting that, but somehow it works. Those sudden changes help keep longer play sessions from feeling repetitive. HD Rumble is also used nicely. Simple actions like drilling or gathering resources have enough controller feedback to make them feel a little more satisfying than they otherwise would. Now, as much as I enjoy Gogo Town, it isn't without problems. The biggest issue is repetition. Eventually, you're still doing the same core activities: gather, build, assign workers, expand, repeat. The systems become larger, but they don't always become more interesting. I also found myself remembering the management mechanics far more than the actual townspeople. The residents are charming enough, but very few left a lasting impression. And I think that's a missed opportunity. Games like Animal Crossing become memorable because of the personalities living in your town. Gogo Town is memorable because of the systems you've built. That's not necessarily bad, it's just a different focus. And depending on what you're looking for, that could be either a strength or a weakness. So, is Gogo Town worth buying on Nintendo Switch 2? If you enjoy management games, automation, town builders, or relaxing co op experiences, I'd say yes, buy. Just understand that this is much closer to a management simulator than a life simulator. You're here to build efficient systems, not unforgettable relationships. My final rating is 7 out of 10. Gogo Town has an addictive progression loop, satisfying automation, excellent couch co op, and enough charm to keep you playing far longer than you planned. But repetitive late game management, forgettable characters, and limited variety stop it from becoming one of the greats. Still, there's something incredibly satisfying about watching a town that once depended entirely on you slowly become a place that almost runs itself. And honestly, that's a feeling Gogo Town gets absolutely right. Thanks for watching Smash and Play. If you've played Gogo Town, let me know in the comments. Did you spend more time decorating your town or optimizing every last production route? If you enjoyed this review, leave a like, subscribe for more Nintendo Switch 2 reviews and gameplay, and follow Smash and Play on social media so you never miss our next upload. Until next time, keep building, keep optimizing, and try not to spend an hour reorganizing your storage just because it looks slightly cleaner.